recorded near the beautiful Black Box Studios in New York, New York. It's the Matt and Ed Show, hosted by Matt and Ed.
Andrew. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Matt and Ed Show, episode 3.
I am Ed.
I am Matt.
And I am Drew.
Yes, you heard it right. We have a third person here today. We have Drew here joining us, our first ever guest host. Welcome.
Yes,
Welcome to
you.
the podcast.
Willkommen.
So Drew, you don't know this, but we have a tradition that's being started right now on the Matt and Ed Show.
Okay.
Whenever we have a guest, first they speak loudly into the microphone,
Okay.
and then they have to come up with a nickname for themselves that will be the nickname that they will forever be on the Matt and Ed Show. So Drew as our first ever guest
You have 5 seconds.
to come up with a nickname.
I recently shaved my head, so call me Mr. Clean.
Okay, Mr.
Perfection
Clean, our
itself.
first
Yeah.
ever. So what's up, Drew? You just graduated. Congratulations on
Yes,
that.
I did. Thank you very much.
How does it feel to not be in high school anymore?
It feels good. Honestly, I was just saying this to them, but I recently got stressed about not having any stress and not literally have nothing to do with my life for the next couple months. So, yeah, it's good.
And you're going to Wesleyan, right?
Yes, Wesleyan University.
Oh boy, that's exciting stuff. So, I guess how's your week been, Ed? I know we tried to actually record this last week, but there was someone just had to go to Pennsylvania. Not going to name names.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Drew.
Oh.
So,
I was like, wait, isn't it?
so we couldn't record until the week after. So our magical every Tuesday has already been broken after 2 weeks.
Sterling record right there. Yeah, so what happened was my dad has a vineyard in Pennsylvania
Ooh.
where he's attempting to make classy wine among the Amish, basically. So he's had this issue with being able to plant stuff where he had to get a sprayer that was rented from this guy who rents it from another guy. So it's like he's renting a machine from a guy who's renting it from a guy. The machine was in Canada until recently. But they both had some trouble with the rains in Canada and had some trouble crossing the border, kind of bizarrely. So it took them a while to actually be able to plant. So the first opportunity to plant was this past week. So we had to go up and deal with that.
I absorbed very little of that.
It's
So basically he had to plant seeds so they become grapes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
because seeds grow into grapes, and then you put the grapes in a jar and you leave them for all eternity and you get booze. It's a miracle, man.
So like when is the earliest that it could actually become wine?
I have no idea. I'm gonna level with you, but probably a fairly long time. I spent some time trying to tune out the winemaking aspects of it because my dad is really into this.
Well, yeah, he owns a vineyard.
But he's really into the biochemistry of it all. So actually, because I'm working on our biology experiments recently, Matt and I both have, and for mine I needed some lactobacillus, and my dad happened to have some lactobacillus lying around because he was trying to figure out what it would do to the grapes, I think.
Yeah, by the way, sorry about that brief interruption. I apparently forgot how to use our recording thing, and it just started playing, so my apologies for that. But yeah, so I guess this is the last day of classes for us before finals week we're recording this on.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, yeah. We're so excited for finals. I mean, some of us are done.
One of us is done.
One of us is done. And so we're not recording in the beautiful Black Box Studios. We're kind of outside. Oh, by the way, we're 4 minutes in, so I should probably do this. Twitter.com/Matt and Ed Show, just in case you want to give us a quick follow there. Also, if you want to email us, please do. mattandedshow@gmail.com. Not to mention, if you have any suggestions for us, feel free to leave us a comment on youtube.com/Matt and Ed Show, or give us a follow on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com. If you look up Matt and Ed Show, it hopefully should come up. Fingers crossed, not so sure. But if not, it's soundcloud.com/Matt-and-Ed-Show. Yep, that's all the show's social media. So what did we watch today, guys?
We watched The Man with the Golden Gun.
Dun dun.
That.
So that's a James Bond movie. I think the reason we wanted to decide it, well, initially we asked Drew what he wanted to watch, and he said choose for me.
Yeah.
So
My first thought was Spring Breakers, but I didn't think they would be into that. I mean, I'm kidding. I did really like that movie though. Oh, this is getting out, but I'm not good at this.
We could have watched it. Next time you're on the show, we'll watch Spring Breakers with you. But we were like, Roger Moore just died, and believe it or not, we actually chose before the night before we had to watch what movie we were gonna watch.
The first time we had time to watch this movie.
Yes, and then we decided to not watch it until last night. The great podcast host that we are, obviously. James Bond movie. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But thank you guys so much for your positive response to the second episode, Air Buddies. One of the
classic film.
A classic cinematic experience. Possibly the best movie we've seen so far.
I would say Air Buddies is the pinnacle of the films.
Yes,
that we've watched.
we have peaked at Air Buddies. But this film was all right. We'll get into it more later. A lot of thoughts on the James Bond franchise, I guess. Drew, have you seen any James Bond movies before this one?
Yeah, I saw Skyfall. That's it.
That's the one.
That's it. And that was only because I lived in England, and that's like James Bond was really big for them. I guess because it's a British franchise. Logical. But when I saw it was like this huge thing, and like we had like a whole school trip to see it. But yeah, I thought Skyfall was good, and that's the only one I saw.
Yeah. I think I've seen most of them. I don't know if I've seen all of them. I'm trying to think if there's any I haven't seen. I mean, I like James Bond a lot. I have seen this movie before, but I was a very young kid, and I didn't remember really much about it. So I was kind of intrigued to see a Roger Moore James Bond that I didn't remember, because I think... I guess one of my favorite I think Roger Moore is the best James Bond, but I also am a big fan of Daniel Craig, and I know you have. You are
a Connery guy.
You're a Connery guy. I mean, my favorite Bond movie is Casino Royale, which is the one preempting Skyfall. What about you, Ed?
I'm gonna go with Goldfinger, which is kind of a cliche answer, but I really like that movie. It's also the best song.
Yeah, it is the best song. Well, I mean, this song was a song.
This song was terrible.
It was so bad.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like a time thing. Like, I was like, oh, maybe because it's an old film, like music's changed or something like that. No, this song was terrible. Who was it by? Do you know?
Lulu.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We found. I did some research on this.
Do you know another Lulu song?
I don't, but I do know that I was listening to this song and I was like, I wonder how the song ranks among every James Bond song ever. Uh-huh. So I Googled a bunch of lists, and in every list except one, the song was rated last.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. The other one is Madonna's song, which is I forget, but I know my favorite. I mean, Goldfinger's awesome as a song. I love Live and Let Die.
Of course.
But I don't know if that's...
I know that, and I didn't see the movie.
Yeah, that's not even as good. I don't think it's like really...
Skyfall was good.
I like Skyfall. Skyfall is the other one.
That was just a really good song overall.
I think Live and Let Die doesn't fit Bond as well as like Goldfinger or Skyfall.
It's also just a really good song.
But it's just like, I mean, Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney
and the Wings.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess. Ed, any more thoughts on James Bond? What do you think about the theory that it's different people?
I really enjoy that theory. I think that theory improves a lot of movies. It deals with the transition from Bond to Bond. It sort of made me sad when Skyfall started like giving Bond a backstory as one person.
So you don't subscribe to the theory? Because I have evidence that it's not true.
Look, I know he has parents and like we see bits of his childhood.
No, in Skyfall, right? The movie Drew saw. They look at the grave of Bond's parents, and they're both named Bond.
Yeah, wait.
his
So,
na-
wait, what's this theory that?
Okay, so the theory is that James Bond, like 007, is a moniker given to a certain rank of spy.
Oh,
It's a code name.
So
okay.
that way, that explains why there's so many different actors and time frames, and like in a lot of the movies, everyone else gets older, but Bond kind of stays
Yeah.
the same.
I mean that makes sense though if you think about
Yeah,
it.
no, it
Like,
does.
why would James Bond use his real name when being
Yeah.
a spy?
It's
Be-
the worst idea
And
ever.
also, like, a lot of people, even in this movie, know his name is James Bond.
Yeah,
and, like, can
exactly,
recognize
exactly.
James
James
Bond.
Bond is kind of an improbably cool name anyway.
I mean, I get it. Like if his parents are dead, right?
Yeah.
So I guess he has no family to worry
parents
about or
are
whatever.
dead.
But like they can look at his home or something. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
this
sense
is-
to me.
I mean, if they want to go down the list of women for James Bond, I think like the sheer logistics mean you can't target his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you did some research about other Bond movies. Like,
I
you
did.
have some stat. Like, usually, if you don't know, I do a lot of the research for this because that's just what I enjoy doing. But you have some actual James Bond stats that you told me when we were eating because we had some time to kill before before coming over here.
Oh,
So we got to get something to eat. So, well, what were you talking to me about?
I looked up. Actually, I just found in passing on the internet a couple statistics in terms of like actors who've played Bond. So you got your Sean Connery, your Roger Moore, your Timothy Dalton, your Pierce Brosnan, your Australian guy whose name I forget, and your Daniel Craig. And I looked up statistics like there are certain things Bonds do. They kill people and they have sex.
That's
The life.
That's pretty much the entire list of qualifications to be James Bond. But I was wondering, like, there are stats on who killed the most people and who had the most sex.
Okay.
So, Roger Moore has the highest death count.
nice.
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 Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, credit to you. But he was also in the most movies.
Yeah, he was a 9.
Yeah. Which was probably a point in his favor. He also holds the record for most kills in a single movie.
In
That
Octopussy,
movie was
right?
Octopussy, bizarrely, which
And that is a real movie.
Yes,
Yes.
Octopussy.
yeah, they
Okay.
made that
Yeah.
movie.
Right.
It's actually not even that bad.
I haven't seen it.
That's the thing.
Okay,
Octopussy's
so
a-
that's like a real like that. They build that as like, oh, there's a real movie.
Yes,
We're
his
gonna be
name
called.
is
It's gonna be
Octopus.
called Octopus.
They were
okay.
serious.
Okay.
That's mostly famous for James Bond disguising himself as a clown
Yeah.
in one scene.
So
When does the Octopussy come into play?
I think that's the name of the villain.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
person,
Yeah.
which is not better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have some facts about Roger Moore actually.
Oh, please.
If you think James Bond is a badass, Roger Moore should have died when he was 5 years old because he had double pneumonia.
What?
He had pneumonia in both his lungs, and he should have died when he was 5, but he survived.
I thought you were like making a moral
Yeah.
judgment.
No,
like,
no.
Roger Moore should have died.
He also had an infection of his foreskin at age 8,
Yum.
Ooh.
and he had to get an emergency circumcision. He also had
That's
his
hot.
appendix, tonsils, and adenoids removed.
Adenoids?
Yeah.
What are those?
They're like in your throat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He also has had kidney stones multiple times.
Jesus Christ.
And
Oh.
needed to be hospitalized during the set of Live and Let Die, and with another film he made called Moonraker. He was
Oh, yeah.
in 1993. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer,
Jesus.
and he underwent successful surgery for the disease. He also collapsed while performing on Broadway, and he was fitted with a pacemaker because his heart needed it.
Jesus.
And he had also he revealed in 2012 that he had had skin cancer several times and diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in 2013.
God doesn't
So,
want Roger Moore to
Roger
live.
Moore,
Didn't want Roger
and
Moore
he
to
lived
live.
until last week.
Oh right, he just died.
Yeah.
I was about to say he's lived a
Yeah.
great life.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Roger Moore. Oh, I mean he's lived a,
You know
lived
what?
a hard and a good life.
Yeah,
it
that's
seems.
that's why I was like, we should watch this movie.
How old was he when he died?
Who was? Let me check. Gonna take out my cheat sheet here. He was Sir Roger Moore, 89.
Wow.
He lived.
Dang.
He lived a long time, considering he wasn't supposed to live until he was 5.
It was like an error on the part of God.
Yeah.
It's like he kept trying to correct it.
Yeah, no. So I found this out last night when I was doing like some research on just Roger Moore. I was like, holy crap, this dude should have died at least like 12
He
times.
said, "Not today, God."
Yeah. He was like, I'm James Bond.
I'm James Bond, mother effer.
Yeah.
Do you
So,
curse on this show? No, right?
I mean, we haven't really, but we're not going to say
Yeah.
no.
Oh, okay.
So
Just curious.
yeah.
Should you so desire?
So if you want to curse, because like, trust me, after Last Airbender, I was shocked we didn't curse.
Yeah,
I was so.
it
I was.
an act of restraint.
Yeah.
That movie.
I'm sorry I wasn't there for that episode because that was a terrible movie.
You can always come back. You're welcome to come back.
Another
We're
M. Night
not
Shyamalan
doing
movie.
Yeah.
the Last Airbender.
Supposedly M. Night Shyamalan, whatever his name is, his movies are good now, right?
He made a good one recently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Visit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made
No, it was called
Split.
Split.
Yeah,
Split.
Split
Oh,
was his.
Split.
Yeah, James McAvoy.
So-
McAvoy?
McAvoy.
McAvoy. Oh.
So funny story about Split. So when it had just come out like that day, I was gonna go see it with a couple friends, and it was after open mic night, and so it was
Which open mic night?
this November probably.
this year's.
Oh, yeah.
This year's, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we had it. Open mic night was running longer than we thought, and it was also really raining, and so the three of us stupidly didn't buy tickets in advance. But one of our friends was meeting us at the theater.
Yeah.
So we run. Also, shout out to Marlon who did the voiceover last week
Oh,
for
yeah.
the intro. He's one of the people.
You've been
so
shouted
if you
out too.
yeah, so if you listen to this, shout out to Marlon. Anyways, so we're running to the theater, and it's like raining, and I'm sprinting. I'm not very fast. I'm white. I don't really have I'm not a very genetically gifted person when it comes to running. So I end up I won the race, just for the record. And if anyone says otherwise, they don't have a podcast. So they're wrong. So I run all the way there, and we get there, and we stand in line, and we find out it's sold out. So
Thank God.
we have actually never seen Split.
Oh, that's how it ends.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was-
so that's my story about Split. It was probably the most frustrated I've been in a very long time. That was until I saw my history grades. And then so M. Night Shyamalan, great guy.
Making a comeback.
We're gonna
Hopefully.
you want to watch After Earth?
No.
Yes.
No, I don't want to do that. And that's like Scientologist propaganda, right?
No, After
No.
Earth is the one with Will Smith
Yeah, exactly.
and Jaden
Yeah, I
Smith.
know.
Wait, no, I
Supposedly
think
it's
that actually is a little
Scientologist
bit
propaganda
Scientology.
or something like that.
It might be.
Yeah, Will Smith does some sus stuff.
Will Smith is an occasionally sus person.
Dude,
It's like sporadically sus.
I was watching an episode of Fresh Prince the other day, and I was like, look how far this man has come
It's true.
That's
from
very true.
considering, like, I mean, he's funny, but, like, he's one of
Yeah.
the Men in Black,
It's next level. We should watch Wild Wild West.
Yeah. Okay. So back to James Bond.
Back to the Bond.
I mean, you want to get started on the discussion of this movie?
Let's
Yes,
get
sir.
into it.
Okay, so The Man with the Golden Gun. This movie was released December 19th, 1974 in London. How much do you guys think the budget was?
Money at that time was like, I don't even know, right?
It
like
was the 70s.
500,000 or something like that.
No, it was like
6 million.
1974.
This is
6 million?
1974.
Is that your final guess, 6 million?
Yeah, 6. Oh, 1974. Oh, that's
Yeah.
not that long ago.
No.
Yeah, sure. Like,
Really not.
and the special effects were bad, but at that point they were
Yeah.
probably like amazing, right?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
So like 5 million, maybe.
5 million is your final
5
guess?
million.
What do you think, Ed?
I'm gonna go higher than Mr. Clean over here.
Oh yeah, we forgot to name for was Mr.
I'm gonna
Clean.
say like 17 million, maybe.
Okay, so the winner of this is Drew.
Oh yes,
7 million is the
Okay.
budget.
that's not too
So,
bad, right?
can you guess how much it made?
Ooh.
100 million.
Okay, Ed, what do you
Because this
think?
is like one of the classic Bond films, right?
Well, it's one of the Bond films.
yeah.
Yeah. but this is this one that people are like, oh yeah, like my top favorite Bond films. Are
We
like,
no.
Oh, okay,
No,
never mind.
no. What do you think?
I'm gonna say like 56 million.
Okay, Drew wins again, 97.6 million.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, so just for the record, Drew is undefeated in the budget game.
Oh yeah.
logging that away.
But so this movie was the 9th movie in the franchise. It had preceded the awesome Live and Let Die.
So in terms of songs, we've gone
From
from
a song by perhaps the greatest musician of all time, if
Lulu.
not one, to perhaps an even better musician.
Is that possible?
perhaps. I mean, we don't know what else she did.
Well, I know. So, rumor has it, actually, speaking of the song, that Alice Cooper, the guy who wrote the song School's Out and played with snakes,
The man, the legend.
actually recorded a version of this song. Like the hard rock, kind of heavy metal, before heavy metal, Alice Cooper recorded a version of the song, The Man with the Golden Gun.
This doesn't surprise me.
But Lulu's was better, apparently.
This doesn't surprise me because Lulu is obviously a legend. We know this from this song, and I'm sure she's had others.
Statistically, she
Alice
wrote
Cooper.
other music.
Alice Cooper supposedly made other music. I don't know who he is either, to be honest. But
Have you heard the song School's Out? Like, School's Out.
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
some- that one? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Alice Cooper.
Yeah,
It's a white classic.
Yes.
that's accurate.
I mean, it's no Lulu version.
No,
But-
no.
Yeah, so, by the way, fun fact, the first note I wrote was, fuck yes, this opening.
Oh, so you do curse on this show.
We
are now allowed to curse.
This is the first curse because
Historic
I am a
moment.
huge fan of the Bond opening, not like of
Like the
him walking.
introduction?
Yeah.
The walking and the
Bang!
Oh, because the introduction did not make any sense to me.
Ba-da-boom.
Like the
Oh,
introduction,
the
I don't know what was
introduction.
happening. Like, is that what you're talking about?
When
Or
he
you're talking
walks
about, like-
across
no,
the
or you're
street
talking
the
about
walks
like.
across.
in a crosshair.
Oh no, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of when like we open up to the
Oh no,
island.
no, no,
first
no.
scene.
Oh okay,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
No,
okay.
because I am of Bond music. I think that the just James Bond theme song is
Is-
one of the best movie theme songs ever.
Yeah.
Up there, of course, with The Man with the Golden Gun and Star Wars, Indiana Jones, all those John Williams classics, and Pirates of the Caribbean. I like that one too.
That's a good theme.
There's a new Pirates movie out actually.
Yeah. I'm not touching that movie.
Bond villain Javier Bardem's in it though.
I'm still not touching that movie.
I feel like Pirates is just like increasingly the same movie but worse.
Yeah, I saw I don't know if I saw it.
The
I
first
remember
one's
the
good.
No,
The
okay,
first
I
one's
remember
good
the
movie.
opening to one where like there was it was really eerie, kind of scary, and like this kid was getting hung, and then they were singing this song, and he's like, and then
I have no memory of this.
That sounds like all of the movies.
yeah, okay, if
Were there
anyone's
pirates?
listening right at this point, and you can remember what Pirates of the Caribbean movie
Write in the
is.
comments if you know exactly what Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah.
movie Drew is speaking of.
One of the early ones.
We'll give you a shout out if if you can
Yes.
correctly
Oh, they'll
guess.
love that.
Oh yeah. So this movie stars Roger Moore as James Bond. Roger Moore is of course the Bond that has been in the most Bonds with 9 appearances in these movies.
This movie?
He appears 9 times only. He is my favorite Bond. I know there's a lot of Sean Connery fans, specifically one sitting across from me here.
Yep.
Hopefully you can hear it, by the way, because Drew and I are using the better mic because there's 2 of us.
Fact.
It also has Christopher Lee, who is famous for many things, notably Count Dooku in Star Wars,
Fantastically.
among other roles, who also died at age 90, like last year
Yeah.
or something.
He also recorded a fantastic metal album
Did he really?
very late in his life.
Awesome.
It's definitely worth checking out. Like, highly recommend.
We also have Brick Eklund as Mary Goodnight, who is Bond's kind of assistant in this movie, who is described by the critic of the Sunday Mirror as, quote, being, quote, an astoundingly stupid blonde British agent.
Aw. So they were really like into feminism at this point.
Yeah.
Like, this is a feminist movie.
Yeah.
This is...
Women are depicted beautifully in this movie.
The James Bond franchise has nothing to do with hypermasculinity.
This,
Right?
in
No.
general. I think actually, this movie specifically, I think, sort of has some very specific elements.
Like the man with the golden gun is a euphemism in itself.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
You listen to the lyrics of the theme. There's a moment where Lulu just asks the audience, "Who will he bang?"
The answer is multiple people.
Many people. That is a lyric in this song.
So this movie is about golden guns, third nipples.
Yes.
Lots of. The opening shot is Christopher Lee on a beach, and he stands up and he has 3 nipples.
Yeah, at first
this
I
is
thought that
a
was
major plot point.
I thought it was a gunshot wound at first, and I was like, oh, he's a survivor of something. But no,
Yeah.
he just had a third nipple.
For reasons.
Christopher Lee plays Francisco Scaramanga, who is an assassin. He's very talented, and he has a golden gun.
For some reason.
I believe the reason is it's so unique you can't trace it. I think that's the movie.
Yeah,
the reason.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
But like, if he wants to be untraceable, maybe he shouldn't shoot everyone with the same bullet.
Listen. Shut up. Okay. He was not the problem with this movie. Christopher Lee was awesome.
Christopher Lee was amazing.
This at the time, Scaramanga was considered the best Bond villain. At a time in which
That's pretty valid.
yeah, there's
Scaramanga's a good
Scaramanga is a pretty good villain. We also have Hervé Velici as Nick Nack, important because he is the midget manservant and accomplice to Scaramanga.
Yeah.
This was problematic to me. And I'm not sure why specifically, but like when I first saw him, I was like, why is this guy why is this guy servant a little
Part of it was
person?
that his name is Knick-Knack.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
you
he was
know, he
French?
wasn't. Was he christened Knick-Knack? Did his parents give him that name? Does
He was
Scaramanga
French
call him
for
Knick-Knack?
some
Yeah, he
reason.
was French,
Yeah.
but the actual actor, I don't believe, is French.
Oh, so they just made him put it on a fake accent for no
For
reason.
no reason.
Like it had nothing to do with anything. Like he was the only
Yeah.
French person, right?
Yeah.
Again, it also, I have issues with it for plot reasons. Because, like, Scaramanga is, again, trying to be inconspicuous. He's proud of the fact that no one knows what he looks like, but he hires the most physically conspicuous henchman he can find.
Dead ass.
Did you say that ass or dead ass?
Dead ass.
Okay.
Oh no, I did not talk about persons, but
Okay, so actually, just an interesting side note, we had Carmen de Sute as Sautoy, as Sadia. She's the belly dancer in the movie who has the bullet in her belly button.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
But interestingly, she was originally written as overweight and wearing excessive makeup, but the producers decided to cast a woman closer to the classic Bond girl.
Of course.
So,
Of course they
if you
did.
didn't know, the Bond series has very main traditions, including British people, very attractive women, and music, shooting things,
Music.
Elaborate layers
Yeah.
that explode at the end.
Lulu.
Loose plots.
Yeah. So
That's
how
a
would
long
you
list.
how would you describe the plot of this movie, Drew?
I can't, to be completely honest. I like I saw the first part and I was like, I still don't know what's going on. Like I was thinking maybe I didn't know the characters well enough for like.
Yeah, but almost every character sort of comes into this movie
Yeah, exactly.
with a very specific purpose that's never really clear.
Like I would like a woman would walk into his room and I would be like, have we seen that woman before? Because they all look
Yeah.
kind of the same, to be
yeah,
completely
Yeah.
they
honest.
keep casting the exact same physical type of woman.
Like I remember one scene when he was coming out of the car with who was he driving with? Was that?
I think it was Goodnight.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
coming out of the car with her, and then he goes into the bedroom.
Yeah.
and he sees a girl in the shower. He's like, "Is that the same girl?"
Yeah.
And then they have
And then
some
it's a
sexual
different girl.
tension.
But
where,
there's a
like-
gun. She
Yeah,
has a gun in the
exactly,
shower. I don't know
exactly.
why
She has a
she's
gun.
showering with a gun. I mean, do
Yeah.
you do that, Drew?
only on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I had a couple questions about that scene. One of them is a bottle of champagne sort of materializes on his way from the car to her room,
Oh,
if I
yeah.
remember correctly. Like, he comes in and he's got this champagne with which he offers her a drink after smacking her around a little bit and making her tell her where Christopher Lee is hiding.
Yeah,
Because that's what James Bond does. But at some point between entering the hotel and entering her room, he acquires champagne, 2 glasses, like a platter. It's never explained how. he
I
does
think
this.
I think he takes it from a guy. I think you see him take it from a guy.
No, there's
I
a
might
scene
be
where the guy
completely
comes
wrong.
up and offers to take it from him.
Oh. Shoot. I don't know. Movie magic. There's...
It's a lot of
What,
movie
can we
magic.
talk about this movie's attempt at comedy?
Yes,
Was there some?
we can.
Was there an attempt at comedy?
Yes.
Yes.
So there were, I will admit, there are some lines that I cracked up for. Notably, and I wrote this down, one of the girls says, "I've lost my charm," to which Bond replies, "Not from where I'm standing." That got a good chuckle out of me. But a lot of this movie, they try to be funny. And, like, there's a place for some humor
Yeah.
in Bond.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I couldn't tell if they were trying to be funny or if it was just like so outrageous. Like I thought, to be honest, I thought they were just trying to be serious, but then the euphemisms just were built out of like them not knowing what they were saying.
Well, I think we had our main man, the American cop from St. Louis.
J.W. Pepper.
Yes, J.W. Pepper, who I think was supposed to be funny.
Yeah,
But,
he's
like,
comedy relief.
He's not.
He's
like,
really.
I mean, I don't know, like, there's obviously want to stereotype Americans. Like, that's definitely exactly what they were doing, stereotyping American tourists, you know. This was a fat guy who, like, claimed he could be, like, stronger than everyone and then ended up, like, getting his ass kicked.
He calls everyone pointy heads.
Yeah,
It doesn't even, like, make sense, really.
And I think that it's basically like, I bet you, I don't know if it was funny at the time. I'm sure it's probably funnier to British audiences. That's kind of the vibe I get, is it's more funny to British audiences.
Yeah.
That's valid.
I mean, they're like, because Bond naturally he's a pretty smooth talking guy. You know, he's not like Deadpool where it's like, it's just one-liner,
exactly.
one-liner, but like he says stuff like in a way that's so like
Like,
elegant.
it wasn't as much
He'll
like
make
slapstick. and,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
It was kind of like, again, like euphemism and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the
There's
serious-
implication.
yeah,
Who will he bang? Euphemism.
yeah.
Barely euphemism.
And there's another part of the movie where Bond is just kind of you see this kid who's like trying to sell this elephant to tourists on a boat. By the way, this movie takes place in Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mostly
Is
Hong
that
Kong.
where the island in the beginning is
Yes,
as well?
Yeah.
it's like
Oh, okay.
outside of Hong Kong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also take a detour to Bangkok at one point.
Yeah, they go to Bangkok.
It's really never clear where anything
It's
is.
it's East Asia is the answer.
Generic Asia.
Yeah.
And I think that this kid was trying to sell the elephant there. And
Yeah.
I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to give it to Bond. And Bond was at this time, he was escaping people, as he is wont to do.
Escaping a martial arts
Yeah,
school,
and
which is
he.
all Asia
This guy
has
tries
martial
to,
arts
and this
schools.
kid tries to sell Bond the elephant, and he's like, "I'll give you 20,000 currency if you'll, if you can make this boat go faster." And the joke is, the boy knows how to make the boat go faster, and it's like turning a switch, and suddenly the boat's like super fast.
Zoom.
And then he's like, "Okay, thank you," and then he just pushes this kid off of a boat.
Yeah.
It was like,
There's a lot of times where Bond is like very into like abusing women and kids,
yeah.
and
He's not really someone to look up to, I think.
yeah.
It's really
Or I
not.
don't know if he's supposed to be, or if he's like,
I don't
like
think
I don't. What
anyone-
do you think the creators of this like franchise thought?
Well,
when
it's
they
originally
started
a
the idea
book.
with James
Yeah.
Bond?
It's a book.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have. Originally, when they were writing the first James Bond movie, when they first were adapting Ian Fleming's books into films, they were talking about it, and they were thinking, like, okay, this is ridiculous. He slaps around everyone, he's
Yeah.
hard drinking, he has all the sex, he's ludicrously over masculine. Let's change this. They were gonna recast Bond as a woman for the first movie.
Really?
For Doctor
Really?
No, they were gonna have Jane Bond instead at one point.
Wow.
But instead, they decided. They made the noble decision, instead of making these movies less stupid, to make them more stupid.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
So they sort of.
But like,
know.
if they incorporated those same traits into a woman, I don't think it would be that much better. You know, I mean, aside from like the beating women,
I
like
mean-
the promiscuousness.
I mean, if a woman shoves a kid off a boat, that's like,
Not.
it's like okay, like it's not that bad. If a man does it, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's kind of true.
I
Kind
guess.
of weird.
But like, I feel like James Bond, like, kind of has to be. I feel like it's such like a charming man. You know, I don't know what it would be like if it was a woman. Not to say that I wouldn't want it. I mean, because like there's a lot of ridiculousness about James Bond. Like the people who think he can't be black.
Yeah.
You know that
Yeah.
like it just
That was
would
Ian
be
Fleming, wasn't it? Who said that he couldn't be black?
Possibly.
probably.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Ian
like-
Fleming's opinion on
Who
things.
cares? Like, he'd probably be cooler actually if it was
Idris Elba would
Idris
be
Elba.
amazing.
Idris Elba would be ridiculous.
I mean, I love Daniel Craig. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah, I like
think.
Daniel Craig
Daniel
too.
Craig is good.
Um,
But he's also like done, isn't he?
That's
He
what
has
he
one
says.
more, right,
That's
or
what he
something?
says after everyone.
I feel like
Yeah.
I think after Skyfall he signed on for like 3 more.
well, yeah,
and
because
that
there was
it.
Spectre that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he has 2 or 3 more,
Yeah.
or 1 or 2. I mean,
I mean, as long as like, I think he doesn't mind playing it. You know.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't imagine it being like that taxing of a role. I
True.
mean, almost as taxing as his cameo in The Force Awakens, where he plays the guard that Rey
Yeah.
does the mind trick on.
Who?
Rey, have you seen? You've seen.
You've
Force
seen The
Awakens?
Yeah. Who? Did,
So you know
When
when
she-
Rey is captured
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she does the mind trick
Yeah.
on the guard? That was Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
oh right.
The
I saw that
end-
online
Yeah.
somewhere.
Brought my weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that was
Yeah.
Daniel Craig.
Wait, so before we
Good
get
for
away
Daniel
from
Craig, I'm
J.W. Pepper, I have a quick question that I'm wondering if you guys can answer this.
What's up?
So
Is the question how to speak louder into the mic?
it is not.
Oh damn.
I am profusely apologetic. All right, but J.W. Pepper, or as he is known in my notes, racist sheriff man,
Mm-hmm.
he's in Bangkok, right?
Yes.
As
He's
in-
with his wife.
Yes, he's with his wife, and they're tourists.
Yes.
Yes.
They're there briefly, like on a visit. They're looking around, but then there's
They're on a gondola.
yeah. They first appear on the gondola, and then J.W. Pepper appears again when Bond happens to jump into a car from a dealership that has him in it, and they like go on this protracted car chase. But my question is, if J.W. Pepper is here as a tourist, why is he shopping for a car?
Rental car.
Right. Was that a rental?
Well,
That was easily answered.
That was easily answered. I was very confused.
that was, shows how much we talk about the movies.
I'm
before.
disappointed. That was a lot of build up for very easily.
I was
Answerable.
very confused for a long
I
time
mean-
about this.
Probably. I'd assume it's a rental. He's not driving though.
He's not driving. He's
Bond
asking
is
for
driving.
But when we first see him, he's in the passenger seat demanding a demonstration.
By the way, this is another point about these movies and movies like this. I love the let's have 6 bodyguards come into a room and they all attack one by one and each
Yeah.
individually get beat up and then maybe there's 2 of them, but instead of ganging up all at the same time, it's like let's go one at a time and then
It's
No, good for them. They took them on like a man. No backup,
Yeah.
no jumping. That's
Exactly,
that's
yeah.
not how they play.
that concept of sportsmanship,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
manliness, is something that comes up a couple times in this movie.
yeah.
Like there's the scene where Scaramanga berates Bond. He says, "You should have just killed me. Oh, but you English don't feel like it's sporting."
Yeah,
to
dead
kill a man in
ass.
cold blood."
Dead ass.
And then 5 seconds later,
If you're
he's
gonna-
like, "All right, let's make this sporting. Let's have a duel."
exactly. If you're gonna kill someone, do it like a man. Like do
Yeah.
a 1-on-1. Don't have any backup. Don't have
And
any
then-
friends jump. Like that's
That's-
not how they play.
That's not even my problem. My problem is his inconsistency in that scene. Like,
Yeah,
you should have killed me. You're stupid for being a sportsman. Let's be sportsmanlike.
Yeah.
It's in the same breath, practically.
So what is Scaramanga's greater goal here? Like in this movie, like he wants to kill Bond.
World
Like we get that,
domination.
No, he just
But,
wants
like-
to be rich.
Yeah.
but like he is rich. He has an island and
He
a
wants to
midget.
be more rich.
Gluttony, you know.
Yeah. This is like, I gotta say, I actually thought going into this movie, I was like, you know what? It's our first guest. Let's choose a good movie.
Yeah, I thought
Like,
this was
I
gonna
don't
be good.
wanna-
I'll be honest. I thought this was gonna be good, and then I saw like the first 5 minutes, and I was like, oh.
I was going into this like I had good memories of this movie. Like I was like, yeah, the Man with the Golden Gun, because like okay, so I don't know if you ever played the N64 game,
No.
the James Bond N64,
No, I
which
did
is
not.
so awesome. Like it's one of the like best multiplayer games of all time. And like in the game, if you get the Golden Gun, it's a one-hit kill. So
That's
I like associated that with like the Golden Gun and the Man with the Golden Gun, and therefore I was like, oh, okay, this movie's probably super awesome.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, Drew, let's watch the Man with the Golden Gun. and then we did, and then I was like,
Well, actually, to its credit, I thought the final scene was awesome.
yeah, I liked it. Are you talking about the boat scene or the like whole duel?
Like, the duel that Scaramanga insists he have because it's sporting, even though
Yeah.
sportsmanship is stupid.
Yeah. So, fun fact, I thought this movie was going to end when they were on the boat and the guy called. And, like, the whole point of her being named Goodnight, I guarantee you, was this. so she can call and he can and the person calling could ask where good night is, and they're having sex, and Bond just goes good night and then hangs up. Like, I thought that was, and I thought if the movie ended there, I would have been like, you know what? I feel like that sums up this movie great.
Yeah.
But then it got better.
But then
Because
it got better.
the shit, they're on a ship, and the door opens, and Knick Knack is there, the evil midget with the knife, and
appears.
I was like,
wait, is midget politically correct?
I'm
or is
not
it
sure.
little person?
okay,
honestly.
so in the research I got, it says dwarf.
Okay, that sounds worse.
That
maybe.
does
Yeah, I
sound
feel like-
worse.
I feel like little person is the correct term, right?
You might be right.
But I feel like that's. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, the person. He's a person.
He's a person of
human being.
diminutive stature. So much so that Bond picks him up and puts him in perhaps a euphonium case.
Trash.
Something like that.
Garbage. Garbage filmmaking.
Yeah,
Truly.
And there's a scene that I could not stop laughing at because I watched this very late. I watched this at like 12. I was like done at 12:30, I think,
Woo.
watching this movie, right? And like
still go to
because my
school.
friend was my friend was calling me when I was watching the movie, and I was like trying to take notes, but my friend Ben, shout out to Ben, was like, Matt, call me, and I was like, fine. So I'm like watching this movie and talking to him, and so like I'm kind of distracted, and so but I was managing to take notes, and this movie I actually kind of understood more than the last Avatar, so there we go.
Yeah.
And there's one scene at the very end where Knick Knack is throwing like 20 wine bottles at Bond.
Yeah.
And
Just
he
throwing
just
them.
keeps hitting him with the chair. And I could not stop laughing because I was like, I legitimately went into this movie thinking, you know, this is going to be pretty good. and then I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes rating after. Do you want to have a gander of how much you think it is?
15.
I'm gonna
Maybe.
say like 49.
Only because I feel like people are gonna judge it better just because it's a Bond film. Like if this was,
Yeah.
and if this did not have James Bond attached to it, it would get
would.
like 1.
Yeah, no one would watch
Okay.
this if it wasn't a Bond.
So, Ed, did you look at my notes?
No.
Because it is exactly 49.
What?
That's
On
crazy.
Rotten
That's
Tomatoes.
crazy. They're gassing it. They're
Yeah.
gassing it so much. Like this was a terrible movie.
That's really weird.
Again, maybe
Well, I
it's a
think
time thing. Like
There's something I've developed a theory about Rotten Tomatoes, which I call the nerd dilation filter. Which the thing about Rotten Tomatoes is it factors in reviews from like everywhere. So it'll factor in newspapers, it'll factor in blogs, it'll factor in a lot of things. So I think that as time has gone on, more reviews have been being written by just like random nerds with access to a keyboard.
But this is I use the critical
Like
score.
us.
I don't use the audience score.
Then never mind.
But I see where you mean because
Yeah.
the audience score is
But-
almost always better. By
Yeah.
the way, we're watching the new Baywatch. I don't care what you say. It got 19%. It has The Rock and Zac Efron.
It
We're
has The
watching
Rock and
this
Zac
movie.
Efron. I'll watch any movie with either The Rock or Zac Efron.
But if you want to know some contemporary critics' thoughts on the movie, Derek Malcolm of The Guardian said, quote, "The script is the limpest of the lot, and Roger Moore as 007 is the last man on Earth to make it sound better than it is."
wait, what?
So basically, the script kind of sucked, and Roger Moore is not really great at making it sound that much better. The script, I gotta say, the plot of this movie was not its strong suit. I thought it was shot.
What was his strong suit?
I thought it was shot fine. I had no problem with cinematography.
The shooting was mediocre.
And
Its strong
I
point
think
was Christopher Lee.
I think the music selection was brilliant.
A lot-
I think Lulu is so far.
Lulu saved the movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so far below 1 that it goes back up to 10. You know? Like, I was listening to the song, and at first I was almost in denial about how bad the
Yeah,
song
me-
was.
yeah.
And I was
We
like,
keep talking about this song, but like
It's
this.
I thought you guys were gonna be like, oh, this is a classic James Bond song. Classic
No,
James
no,
Bond
no,
movie.
no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is classic era Bond. It is, like, it comes after Live and Let Die. This is, I mean, they've made 9 of these at this point, which
Yeah.
is a lot,
Yeah.
you know?
just a lot for any franchise.
Yeah, you know. So basically, IGN, of a contemporary thing, rated it the worst Bond movie of all time.
Okay.
What?
That's probably fair.
That's kind of harsh, though.
I don't know if that's true.
I would
I
disagree.
can't think of one worse.
Die Another Day.
Die Another Day is pretty bad.
Die Another Day is absolutely.
But see, I think Roger Moore is fine. I think,
Yeah, I think it was fine.
Roger,
It
I
was
think
okay.
if Roger Moore and Christopher Lee weren't in this movie, like this would be
That
an
would-
awful movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Roger Moore is okay. I mean, he's no Sean Connery, but
Yeah, he's no Sean Connery because he's better.
I'm just gonna let that one stand. No,
This is gonna be I don't know if you know. Ed and I don't disagree very often
It's-
on things.
relatively rare.
This I heard he said that Sean Connery was better. And I know I'm gonna get chastised for saying that he's not. But Roger Moore's better. I'm sorry. And I know you might think, oh, he just died. Roger Moore is a better Bond.
Roger Moore is not a bad Bond, but Sean Connery just has.
Sean
might just be
Connery, I
because
mean,
he-
if you're going in the stance that Bond supposed to hate women, I think Sean Connery's a perfect example. Because
That's
Sean Connery
very
does hate women. But I don't know otherwise. If that's... So, I mean, The Man with the Golden Gun, I guess... I think you do have to watch it, though. If you're going to watch...
Yeah.
I don't think it's, so bad it's missable. Okay. But I do think that it's certainly, I guess, one of the worst ones. So it's if you're going to watch a Bond, don't make it.
Don't make it this one per se, but also, if you got 2 hours and 5 minutes to kill, you can go with this one. It's got all
This
the,
movie was long.
Yeah.
It really was,
It was so long. I saw I was given you sent me the link to it.
Yeah.
And it was in 3 parts, and I thought the first part was 50 minutes, and I was like, oh, okay, this is bad, but I'll be able to get through it.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
saw 2 more parts. The second part was 15 minutes, and the third part was 20 minutes. I was like, okay, I can't. That's the point. I started skimming.
Did you watch this in one session?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I would watch 10 minutes, and then I would skip 3, and then I would watch 10 minutes, and then skip 5.
Yeah.
And then you'd watch 10 minutes and skip 50.
Yeah, and then I just skipped part 3, and then I was not kidding.
I got into it towards part 2. I mean, it was a really weird divide because the third part was so much shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you watch it. First of all, I usually will buy the movies or rent them at least, or if they're not on Netflix. This was not able to rent, and I was not spending $15 on this
$15
movie
on Amazon.
On iTunes.
On iTunes?
Yeah.
On Amazon as well, I think.
Well, I think it's probably
Much
the same.
too expensive.
Yeah.
I would not pay $15 for this movie. I think that. What did you think of the Bond girl? I thought she was passable at best.
I mean, the Bond girl was a Bond girl. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to... I hate
You gotta-
saying that
Yeah.
as a...
You gotta think about the duty of a Bond girl within the movie.
Yeah.
What does she need to do? And I mean, the answer is not a lot.
She needs to look attractive.
A.
She needs to have sex with James Bond.
B.
Drew, if you want to unplug my computer, it's fine. It's cool. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Update. Drew has unplugged the computer.
Yeah, Drew needed to unplug. Drew needed to plug in his phone. That's cool.
It's so awkward.
It's not. Don't worry. We didn't. It's. That's why we have 3 people.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. And I think that it's the problem with this movie is just for parts of it, I feel are just unnecessary.
Yes.
There's entire characters in this movie that I think just didn't need to be in it.
Yeah, for sure.
J.W. Pepper.
Yeah, J.W. Pepper, Knick Knack. What's the point of Knick Knack?
Why was there knick-knack?
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
Yeah. There's a paradigm in movies of the trio of villains, which
Yeah.
is done so often that you just it's a lot like a trio of good guys you get a lot of the times, like Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
Yeah.
You got your protagonist, you got your girl,
And
you
you
got
got
your
your-
idiot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what ruined, Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
If anyone gets that reference.
Well,
But you guys...
the Spider-Man
yeah,
3,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Spider-Man
Spider-Man 3.
3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I don't hate that movie.
I don't hate it either, honestly.
It's
I
honestly...
I liked all the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man
Yeah.
movies, too,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I mean, 2's the best.
2 is the best.
But I think that the Sandman part was cool.
Sandman part was really cool,
In
even
that
though it
movie.
makes no sense that his daughter's ring didn't like turn into sand.
Okay. Yeah, and so I think that. Anyways, back to Bond.
Back to Bond.
Spider-Man, by the way, yeah, I like Spider-Man a lot.
Me too.
Spider-Man is great.
But this movie, I guess, if you had to wrap up this movie, what do you think you'd say about it?
I would say almost like if you took every Bond stereotype and put it in a movie,
And
like,
and made it like attempt to be funny.
exactly, like this
Yeah.
would be it. Like it had everything that's like, but like it had all of that, but it had nothing more.
Yeah.
Like it had no
Well,
substance.
it did
Yeah.
have Roger Moore.
Oh, you're a bad
Boo. Roger, I hardly know her. Roger that. Like that's it. But,
That's all the Roger ones we could think of.
Yeah, like it had no substance other than the fact that he was hyper masculine. There was a Bond girl, a lot of violence, a lot of like sex.
A cool villain.
A very
cool villain. Like
Who
that was it.
by the way, he doesn't appear for most of the movie. Like I forgot. Like I saw the cast and I was like Christopher Lee. I was like, okay, he's in the beginning, and then he
Yeah.
just disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Nack's there. I thought he was the villain
Oh,
for
okay.
a while.
Wait, this is going so far back, but the introduction. What was that? Was Nick Nack trying to kill him?
Wait. I actually
The assassin?
I have a very specific thing to say about this
Yeah.
introduction. Because what happens is Nick Nack is hires this fedora-clad gunman to basically hunt down and kill Scaramanga. But
Yes.
Scaramanga clearly knows that it's happening, and Nick Nack sort of goes easy on him. Like, he's got this weird funhouse
Yeah.
where he later dukes it out with Bond, and Nick Nack hides his gun for him to find. So what I think has happened is he's hired a man to try to kill him to keep him on his toes. That's Nick Nack. Now, I don't know if...
Okay, real quick.
Hold up.
Let's.
pause it?
Well, what do you?
Like I'll come back. Okay, like for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, so we're just gonna kill time for 2 minutes.
Kill time for 2 minutes.
Yeah. So
But he's hired this guy to try and kill him. Just to keep him sharp, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you recognize that plot point from any other movie, but I don't know if you've seen any of the Pink Panther movies.
yes.
You've seen the movie, for example, A Shot in the Dark?
No.
Okay. In the Pink Panther movies, which are parodies of police movies, some of which are awesome,
And then there's the Steve Martin ones,
and then there's the Steve Martin ones.
which I actually thought were good, but I was a little kid when they came out. I was a youngin.
That's valid. But in A Shot in the Dark, we discover that the protagonist, Inspector Clouseau, hires this man, either Kato or Kato, I can't remember, I saw the
Kato.
movie a long time ago, Kato, to try to kill him occasionally to
It's
keep him
usually
sharp.
Kato.
It's usually Kato.
Kato is like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was wondering, did the man with the golden gun rip off the Pink Panther in this scene? And I looked it up, and A Shot in the Dark came out in 1964. So the timeline adds up. I don't know if this was a common trope.
I think they wanted to, the movie maker perspective, they wanted to show that he's a crazy assassin, and they wanted to use, there's this Hall of Mirrors kind of gimmick that they use,
Yeah.
and that's almost kind of like foreshadowing,
When they fight it out in the
yeah.
Hall of Mirrors at the end.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
and I think that was why they did that, and I
Yeah.
think they just needed some guy, because obviously they couldn't kill Bond.
No.
So that would have been a very short movie had Bond come back. But I definitely think that that was why.
That would make sense.
Lulu.
Lulu.
I mean, I gotta say, Avatar had, like, good music.
Avatar did have good music.
But, like, this song, I mean, and we keep going back to it, but
You
this
can't
song.
escape the song. Like, you genuinely can't. It's everything.
Yeah.
Did you have, like... Drew talked about when he saw the introduction, about 5 minutes in, he knew he was done. Did you have, like, a specific moment? Like, we talked about with Avatar, like, did you have a specific moment where you knew how you felt about this movie?
I think it was when Bond got arrested or kidnapped or something. Then he flipped out of a window and landed, like, in a car.
Yeah.
I think that's when I was like, okay, I know exactly how I feel about this movie. And I think, I didn't hate it. It's still like a fine movie, but I think Drew talked about how it's probably considered better because it's Bond.
Yeah.
I'd almost consider the opposite. I think it's a fine movie on its own, but once you lump it in with the context of all the other Bond movies that are good, I think that kind of takes away from it almost.
I kind of hear that.
And obviously it doesn't have the best plot in the world. I think that is definitely its weak point. But
One of its weak points.
One of its weak points. But the people who needed to be good were good.
Yes.
And I think that's what's important for a Bond movie. Bond was good.
Bond was good.
Roger Moore is the best Bond.
Bond was adequate.
Christopher Lee was awesome.
Christopher Lee was extremely awesome.
I
I don't know
mean-
if I can overstate this.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Christopher Lee is a great actor.
Christopher Lee is fantastic. And again, check out his metal album.
What's it called?
I do not remember.
That's a great album title.
That
I do not
would be a
remember.
great album title. It is not that album title. But like, you look up a Christopher Lee metal album, you'll only get one result. Probably.
Is it William Shatner talking?
William Shatner was not involved. I hope.
Yeah, this movie, I think at the end of the day, if I were to like rank this in the Bond films, I think it would be towards the bottom.
Definitely.
I don't think it would be like the bottom, but I think it would be like second or third to the bottom.
Below.
Because I did not like Spectre very much, in all honesty.
I thought Spectre was okay.
I did not like it. I'm a big fan of Dave Bautista, and I've told you this.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome in Guardians. And
He
Guardians
is awesome in
2,
Guardians. And Guardians 2,
which you have not seen.
which I saw this weekend.
Oh, did you? How'd
Yeah.
you like it?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Good soundtrack. Good acting.
Stellar
There were some
soundtrack.
really good moments.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, one of the best franchises going right now is the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Definitely.
Bond, I like Bond a lot. I didn't when I was that young of a kid. I think it's with Bond you kind of you need that mature mindset going in.
Sort of.
Almost. And I think that's kind of lost in this movie. I think this movie had a really weird pace throughout. It'd be serious and then it would be like funny for like too extended of a period of time.
Yeah.
I think Bond humor is at its best when it's subtle and like short. Like I said, I thought my favorite line is "I lost my charm, not from where I'm standing."
That's a classic Bond line. Although, my favorite line was from earlier in that scene, "You really do have a magnificent abdomen."
Yes.
Is that a great grouping of words?
Yes.
But you were saying.
I also thought it was really funny and kept trying to go to... Because he was doing a belly dancer and he was locking lips with her.
Yes.
And he kept trying to get a bullet out of her belly button, so he kept moving down to her abdomen, and she kept like moving his hand down, and she'd move his hand over, and it was actually pretty funny. That's where the Bond stuff shines, is in the character of James Bond, more so than the like creating a character for the sake of comedy,
Yeah.
9th movie in the franchise. There would be many, many, many more, because I totally looked it up.
How many are there?
I don't know. I didn't look it up. I can look it up now.
All right.
Uh,
I think it's like 20-something, like maybe 22, 24, something like that. Although my statistics guessing was not good, but then it got good. So
yeah, it got good once. Quantum of Solace is 22.
All
List
right,
of
so
all
that's
James Bond movies. Hold on.
24, right?
Okay, give me a second. Part 2. We're on 007james.com.
What did I miss?
We're talking just about Bond in general, and kind of... Okay, 24 movies. Spectre's 24.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was 9 out of 24.
When did they start getting good?
The first one was good.
Or like
They're good, and then they get worse, and then they get better.
better.
They probably got like, I'm guessing like during the Roger Moore era they got like super popular. So they stopped
Yeah,
caring
they blew
less
up.
about the substance and more about just the fact that they were putting a movie out that would gain like
Yeah, and then they
loads and
had
loads of
other
money.
Bonds they
Yeah.
replaced him. There's the one guy who was American, what's his face?
Yeah, the American one.
Who was awful. And
Lazen?
Paul Lazenby.
Paul Lazenby.
Was it Paul?
I thought it was Australian.
Whatever.
Yeah,
There was
but
one that was
he
American,
was before
right?
movie.
Yeah.
But he wasn't even like Was he like a real Bond, or was he?
No,
just like
it was a real Bond.
Wasn't that
Yeah.
just like a throwaway film?
No,
though?
there was
There
another
was-
throwaway film
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
that might have used an American Bond that they made to like get copyright. I can't remember the whole story.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts on The Man with the Golden Gun, Drew.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like it was bad. I wish like maybe but it didn't kind of make me want to see more Bond films, to be honest, just to see like how they kind of grew and like evolved, I guess.
I think, yeah.
Because I saw the most recent ones and then one of the like older ones. So like
Yeah.
I would like to see what's in the middle, I guess.
Try. If it's not the worst Bond movie, it's definitely the worst Bond movie with the word gold in the title.
Yeah, try Goldfinger, try
Yeah,
Live and
I'll
Let
see
Die.
Goldfinger.
GoldenEye is pretty good.
Casino Royale is
Oh,
awesome.
Casino Royale is fantastic.
Casino Royale's a newer one.
Yeah, I feel like all of the Daniel Craig movies are good.
Spectre.
Spectre, really?
Spectre
But I feel like
is
Spectre
fine.
would at least like did I see it? I don't know. If I might have seen it, but I feel like Spectre, if I did see it, was like at least entertaining. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Was that
no,
bad?
honestly, I liked it.
I did not.
Because I wasn't
will
entertained
defend
by this, to
Spectre.
be honest. Like I found it kind of slow almost.
Yeah, and I was talking about when you were gone that the pacing was a little
Yeah, the
off.
pacing
Like they'd
definitely
have
was
like
off.
really long comedic bits
Yeah,
and then like
exactly.
Yeah,
serious.
Exactly.
And then, yeah.
Serious, funny.
So overall, what do you say, Ed?
I think my opinion on this movie can be summed up in one very specific moment right at the beginning. Because during the befedored gentleman's attack on Scaramanga in the Hall of Mirrors,
Yes.
Nick Nack is watching from his little creepy control room where he's like
Little
running
chair.
the show on his tiny chair, and he turns on some security cameras, and you see Scaramanga in one of the views, and automatically, without Nick Nack doing anything, the security camera zooms in on his face. And I think that attitude sort of sums up a lot of what this movie was. To me. It was just Bondness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Bond.
It was
super
pure
Bond.
Bondness without quality.
Loads of bondage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that
Yes.
note, we're gonna wrap it up here.
Okay.
Drew, anything you want to plug? Any final words?
Anything I wanna plug?
Yeah, plug the gram
Follow
if
me
you
on
want.
Instagram. Yeah, D Small Mountain if you really care.
Yeah, D Small Mountain.
Yeah, that's basically the only social media I would like to plug, I guess.
Any last words to the people listening?
The person listening.
The person. Who's your biggest listener? Do you know?
My mom.
Well, if this is to your mom, tell your mom she
Well, your
raised a
mom's
beautiful
hearing this.
child.
Oh, I appreciate that. Not
Is your mom
in-
listening also?
mom
Ed?
doesn't listen.
My mom is not going to listen either. So, but
My mom listens.
yeah. So if you're still listening, have a great day.
Yeah.
Positive vibes to you.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Drew,
Yeah,
for
thank you for having
no,
me.
thank you.
I
Drew,
love podcasts. Like I really did this because I really enjoy podcasts. Like I listen to podcasts all the time. So
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Well, no, we really
Yeah.
appreciated it. Drew was actually when I first like told people about the podcast. Drew immediately reached out,
Yeah.
asked if he could be on the show, and I was like, Drew would probably be an awesome first guest, and you did live up to the hype.
Without a doubt.
So that's definitely something we really appreciate
Thank you.
of you taking your time out of your extended amount of free time to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you want to follow the show, at Matt and Ed Show on Twitter. If you want to follow us on YouTube, Matt and Ed Show, you can give us a subscribe, like. You can also email us, mattandedshow@gmail.com if you're so interested.
Yes.
We will take any emails you guys want, and we really appreciate any feedback given, even if it's negative against Drew.
You like my hair? Oh, right.
yeah, they don't see
It's only
it.
audio.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
You will never know if you like Drew's hair or not.
So thank you guys so much
her
for
up.
listening. We really appreciate it. Ed, any last words?
Not really.
All right. So have a great week, guys. Good luck on exams if you're a person from our school listening to this.
Yep.
And be well, stay safe, and have a great week.
Yeah.